We're here
We're here.
at the podcast. I love the sporadic start. That's how it starts every time.
Yeah.
It's very stressful. I come in late. You don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
That's
and
all right.
we kind of
here.
like reshuffle ourselves together because this is what I want to show. Yes. Okay.
Take deep breath.
I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Good.
Okay. So
We all do.
this is the part of real estate I'm trying to show people that our lives are actually crazy. We're not waking up with a set schedule and sticking to it most times. So number one, I'm glad you're here because you're a lawyer.
I sure am.
Okay. You own Grimaldi Law Firm, the Closers Title Agency.
Insurance agency.
The Closers Title
right.
Insurance
That's
Agency.
Right.
And I love you guys. I love your branding. I love you as a person. And you're one of my closest friends. And I don't know how we got here. So,
we got here because you asked.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So I just wanted to just start with, number one, how do you stay consistent with all that you have going on in your world?
Ooh. Well, consistency is a funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's days that are good and there's days that are not as consistent with, and depending on what we're talking about, right? Professionally, I do have a very big team now.
Mm-hmm.
We're like 14, 15 people. So it's easy to stay consistent when you have a lot of people helping you stay consistent and creating the systems and the protocols and the procedures and the time frames and the workflows. That helps on the work side of things stay consistent. On a personal side, what helps me stay consistent, after I had kids, I just got really hungry to be successful.
Same.
And so that just kind of changed everything and turned me into I got to do this and I got to do this now. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably what helps me stay consistent in showing up on the work side of things. On the personal side of things, when we're talking about working out and meditation and all that other stuff that I
saw that. You were just doing yoga.
That's not as consistent as I would like.
Okay.
But, we work on it every day.
Yeah, I guess it's the little things.
We reset every day. Today I did a nice reset on a few things.
Okay. I try to do that. So for me, since I had kids, all my consistency kind of derailed. I'll have a plan. I'll have a set to-do list. And then a variable will come in and just derail it, or I'll say, I'm going to go on computer and do this. And then now there's like someone mashing on my keyboard. So it's just really hard for me to like keep that consistency. So I'm asking everybody, like, that's how I'm starting these. How do you stay consistent? Okay.
Yeah. Like I would say creating a system, creating a protocol for yourself. It got to the point that I had to create on my phone a reminder of like all the vitamins and things I want to do in the morning.
Okay.
I went back to basics actually yesterday.
I try to like lay it out. Like I'll just have it in a corner somewhere. That's okay.
So now I in the morning I have like sea moss gel and aloe vera juice and this juice and that supplement and my water with lemon and like all these things, and I just had them so simplistically, and then making sure I do my skincare in the morning and a few things because I was just like skipping things and rushing to work.
That's kind of where I am, like just not skipping things, but like I'm trying to get through everything, but I'm just showing everywhere late because I have just so many things that are just backed up that I'm trying to do. Okay, so all right, thank you for that. Let's kind of backtrack.
That's just being real, like
like I'm glad we got to get that out because like I just want to know how's everyone doing it because like am I the only one that's late to things, But I'm learning. Yeah, that's my affirmation now. I'm learning to blank. Okay, so Melinda Grimaldi, how did you get here to, I guess, give us your like backstory to when you first decided I'm going to be a lawyer to here we are now at the Grimaldi Law Firm and the Closers Title Agency. Like, I'm just curious. Yeah,
so as a kid, I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs. So as a kid, if you would have asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't answer the traditional, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this, I want to be that. I said I want to be my own boss.
Okay, yeah, same. Yeah, that's how it goes. You figure it out.
Seeing my parents being entrepreneurs and my family and everyone, it kind of was something very young that I knew I wanted to do. I didn't know how that was going to look like at that age. And then in high school, I figured the best way to take care of the family business, which was real estate at the time, was to be a lawyer.
Like your family was like investors, realtors? Like
yeah, we had multifamily properties at that time.
So there was a lot going on.
65 doors at that time.
Okay.
So a lot going on. And then other businesses and holdings and things that were just getting to be like, okay, well, what can I do? What's the best way to contribute?
Yeah, this is like your teenage years. You're dealing with like 65. That's
my parents.
That sounds
yeah,
stressful.
I mean, I wasn't, but that was a lot. It was a lot. They had help, but it was There was no like management company. That was our business.
Were you guys a management company? Okay.
Yeah, so we did that internally, and we had some help, but that was a lot. And so through the years, it was like the American dream, right? We moved here from Canada. I was 13.
Okay.
My dad was always in real estate, so Canada had a recession.
What part of Canada?
Montreal.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So he came here and started fresh, and we got one little building, and then they got another little building, and
what made them get into real estate? Do you know?
My dad was in real estate from before I was born, so I really don't know what got him into real estate.
That's interesting.
Okay. But yeah, he's always been.
That's just been his thing.
He's been wholesaling before wholesaling was a thing.
That's cool to know. Okay.
Yeah, and making deals happen, and it's pretty cool.
So your experience really starts from like.
Yeah,
you just grew into a real estate experience.
At 8 years old, we were like painting fences and helping out, with the building when we used to come visit.
You knew about add value. Yeah. That's cool. Okay.
And so that was. And then in high school, I decided, okay, I'm going to go to law school because that is what's going to allow me to best take care of all this stuff and all these things.
I get that.
And once I got to law school, then it became, I kind of like this. Maybe I'll litigate. Because I was, I love to public speak, and I was always, I like the trial strategy of it.
I just realized I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I went down that path for a second. Opened my practice in 2009.
Okay.
Because it was like the middle of the recession or like the peak of it, and no one was hiring.
Right.
When I started law school, everyone's like, "Oh, if you're in the top."
Wait, from law school, you just started a practice?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know you could do. Okay.
Yeah, you could do that. So what happened? What happened was that when I entered into law school, they're like, oh yeah, graduate in the top 10%, you're gonna, you'll be given job offers as soon as you graduate.
Yeah.
Well, I graduated in 2009.
Okay.
We were competing against lawyers of 5-10 years experience at that point.
I can see that.
The job offers out there were really low, the ones that were coming out. And I said, well, if I'm going to work for peanuts, let me just start now. And I had a lot of support from professors and colleagues, so we figured it out. And I built a practice, one day at a time. A lot of my colleagues in the same year that I graduated went that same route because, let's do it. We got to do something, right?
Yeah.
And it was always where I was going to go.
Yeah.
So might as well start now.
What did you name it when you first started?
It was the law office of Melinda Grimaldi. It was not very...
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
I can see it like on the door.
Yeah, and
I can see
now
that.
We just rebranded to Grimaldi Law Firm, shorter, sweeter.
I like it.
I like it better.
Yeah. When did you come up with the closers? Well, how did that come about?
So this was 15 years ago that I started my practice, almost 16 years ago, in 2009. So now, fast forward, I think it was 4 years ago or 3 years ago. I'm losing track of time.
That happens.
In the middle of the beginning of COVID, I think it was, I launched it. And why was because some realtors think attorneys are deal killers.
Yeah, I keep hearing that, but I'm just learning to use attorneys.
I actually love to make deals happen.
Yeah.
But there was this funny, and I could see why. There are a lot of my colleagues that are deal killers, that they over-lawyer a deal instead of saying, well, let's get down to reality. Buyer wants to buy, seller wants to sell. How can we get this deal done? Let's get creative and figuring it out. So I launched a title company just to be able to leverage the referrals for the people who didn't like the law firms, to be honest.
So the law firm and the title company, I always thought if you see a title company, that's a lawyer. That's not the case. You can own a title company and not be a lawyer.
Correct. So there's a lot of misconceptions about the two.
Okay, wait, one more question. And I also thought that just any real estate attorney, that's a title company. They can close your deal.
No.
Really?
So let me break that down for you.
Please. Okay.
A title company can obviously close deals. A title company can be owned by a lawyer or not. Either way, no legal advice can be given by a title company.
Okay.
A title company can only run searches, issue a policy, act as escrow and settlement agent, and close the deal.
Do they have to have lawyers on staff?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
They could. they should.
I just tell people, title company have a lawyer. Okay, good. They do not necessarily.
They do not necessarily have a lawyer. There are a lot of non-attorney owned or non-attorney operated title companies. Okay. And so there's that issue. And then title companies can only work on a transaction that they're issuing the policy for. Oh. So let's say if in Miami-Dade and Broward, where we have the listing agent, the listing seller not choosing title. Yeah. They can't go to any title company other than the buyer's title company. Okay. Or they could hire a lawyer.
Really?
To do their portion of the transaction.
Okay.
Then we have a law firm. Mm-hmm. Some law firms have underwriters where they can do closings, and some law firms don't. So if they are a real estate settlement law firm or that has settlement services, they can do your closing and represent a party in a transaction. And so that's the difference. Mm-hmm. A law firm can represent a party. A title company cannot. A law firm can work in a transaction that it's not issuing title. A title company cannot. Mm-hmm. They can both do settlement services. Okay. Yes, that's the difference.
So if you're what gives you the decision to, if you're already in real estate, like why would you not just go straight for a title company and why go, you know what I'm saying? Like it seems easier to just close deals all day.
Right. So it really just depends on the preference of the client and the lawyer. Right. So for us, when we get a file come in, and if we always ask, like, where do you want to go? Which side? Here's the difference of the two companies. It's more cost effective to, generally speaking, to work with a title company because you're not getting legal representation. Okay. But some people want the legal representation. Right. And then there we go on the other side. Okay. However you like it, we can do it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I always wondered that. How do I know if I want because some people have an attorney that does all their closing. Some people have a title company. It's like, what do you want?
And a lot of times it's the realtor's preference.
Why? Like, how do they decide? You know
what they like to have.
Okay, so this I imagine it's like what matches like my brand, my business model.
Your business model, your recommendations, and at the end of the day, who do you like to work with, and who can support you in your transaction, right? Yeah. So, in addition to settlement and legal advice, we educate and coach agents through the deal. That's just
so they're learning.
An agent. That's before walking in here, I got a screen clip of an as-is counteroffer saying, "What does this even mean for my client?" Yeah. And so, without even being in the transaction at this point yet, and without even representing the client, I could just coach the agent to say, "This is generally
here's how you can explain it.
How you can explain it."
I like it
as an educator.
Right.
And so that's kind of my shtick.
So it's really on the relationship because it provides the experience. So because the agent paired with you, they can now have more confidence explaining things to their client because they're going to run it by you, you'll run it by them, and then they'll take it.
And my whole team works that way.
They do. Yeah. I will say that. They do. Very nice team. Very nice team.
My whole team has very big education and support kind of theme and background, and so we just make sure that's how we roll.
I forgot to ask you to bring me a mug. I got a mug at the Broward Transportation Spotlight at the arena. What's that guy? Nice guy.
Lorenzo,
nice guy. Yeah. But I left it on the table. I gave it to my agent. She left it on the table. It was gone.
Okay.
Somebody took the closest mug.
At the inaugural, we'll be there.
I will be there.
And we even have the little cafecitos.
Please give me. Okay.
I'll save one for you.
Thank you. Cafecito cup. Because sometimes, so I do coffee in the morning and cafecito in the afternoon.
Yeah, so
you gotta have a. Thank you. The set. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna have something for you, but I got you. Okay. I'm excited. Let me make sure I hit record on that camera real quick because I do that.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. This record here. We're good. Everything's fine.
Wonderful.
I've done it while I did a whole episode. Like, oh crap, I never hit record on the camera. Okay, so thank you for that. All right, so now I don't know if you heard, but I decided I really like public speaking. I like being analytical and explaining things. I decided I'm gonna go to law school somewhere in my career. I don't know when, but people always call me for their problems and want me to explain things. So I could be a lawyer somewhere. So I don't know if you have any advice for me because I'm already kind of spread thin. And I'm learning to prioritize one thing at a time because I realize you can link your priorities. I used to try to do 13 things on a to-do list, and I would literally hate myself because I couldn't keep up with it. And I'm not in the right place. I'm not. So.
Well, you shouldn't have more than 10 things on your to-do list for the day.
I learned that.
That's like a max.
Yeah.
I had to hire a productivity coach 2 years ago, and that was the first thing she taught. Okay, we're just going to plan the day for the next day.
Yeah.
And you're just going to make a list of things you got to do over and above your appointments that you want to get done, and just start with no more than 10. And every one should start with an action word.
Okay, see, I learned that the most successful people I know in life, they all have coaches.
Oh, I have tons of them.
And it's like it's not like
crazy.
Yeah, at what point do people like make that decision? Like, when are you ready for a coach?
That's a great question. Let's see, in 2017, I think is when I hired my first coach.
Okay.
Actually, probably before that, but I hired bad coaches first.
How do you, pull your mic closer just in case. Yeah, pull it closer. Yeah. Okay. How do you know a good coach or bad coach? How frequently can you fire coaches, and what's the coach? Give us a coach tutorial real quick.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So if you're looking for a coach, first you got to figure out where your area of improvement needs to be.
So you got to know yourself first.
You got to know yourself. Like,
okay.
What are you trying to improve? Because there's a coach for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to also remember, those who can do teach. So you have to also make sure that the person that you hire has done it before.
Okay.
Like, so if you're going to hire a sales coach, make sure that they've closed sales like
that makes sense.
Crazy before, they are teaching other people to close deals.
I've seen that.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're going to hire someone to help grow your business, make sure they've grown their own business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my
you got to make sure they're a fit
factors
to your priority at the moment.
Make sure you have people recommending. So asking other people who they use, asking for recommendations for their existing clients, going into different groups online on Facebook and asking whoever used this coaching program. You'd be surprised how many ways you could find out things. Because there's a lot of people that are just selling you that like shiny magic pill.
Yeah.
And there's no magic pill.
Right.
There's more efficient and better ways to do things. There are ways you can rewire your brain to get over mindset things in sales or in life. But I will say that when it comes to accomplishing and growing, you just got to do what you got to do.
Okay. So here's how that just paints it in my head. So I imagine it's like we're athletes. Like if we were track stars, we would have our own set coach. Like, this is my coach. I need this coach. If I was a boxer, this is my trainer. This is my coach. It's just your thing is being a great lawyer, so you need a lawyer coach, right? Like
my coaches were business coaches. So even though I came from a family of entrepreneurs, no one ran a law firm. No one taught me about sales. No one taught me about marketing. No one taught me about policies and procedures and how to manage and build a team that does what it needs to do and all these other things. And so I started, and when I started my practice, I created a job for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It took me about 8 years to really start growing a business.
Yeah, me too.
And I think a lot of realtors can relate to that.
Yeah, I'm on year 10 and I'm just not figuring stuff out.
You're creating that job for yourself, but are you creating a business that can scale, a business that can grow a legacy, right?
Like, why are you doing this?
For your kids, why are we doing this, right? And so that takes a little bit more effort. And at the center of it all is you. Like, are you fine-tuned and primed to be able to be the owner of that business that you want?
Yeah.
And so going in and looking at your mindset, looking at your routines, looking at the way you think, looking at the way you react to things, looking at how you manage your emotions, all that is like really important to work on too. Really,
trust me, I know, because I'm at the learning to manage my emotions part, because like it'll shut me down for a day. Like, especially I'm very crucial and hard on myself, and it just. So what I'm evolving this thought into is now you have to just figure out what your priority at that moment is. So if your priority is to get more sales or to just run faster or whatever it is, you need a dedicated coach that's versatile on that. And then you're going to have your little auxiliary things like, okay, if I want to be a great lawyer or salesperson, I also need to be able to stay up long enough. So I need to work out. I need a fitness coach. So this is how you end up having multiple coaches?
Yeah, in some ways. And then some coaches can offer multiple different ways to support. Most mindset coaches are sales coaches and vice versa, because it's all about what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
And how you show up.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're just gonna have to see what you're looking to improve, and then start there. I think is the best way. So for me, I was just, when I finally found the right coaching system for my business, I was in a place where I had spent so much money on marketing, and like, let's just, that saying, like, throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Nothing stuck.
Got it. So
and I spent so much money, and it was not producing anything for me, and I got to a point where, like, I need to do something different.
You're investing in yourself now.
I need to do something different.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because that first quarter, the focus was marketing, and I just was able to shift gears so quickly.
That's what they say, marketing first. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because if you don't have the marketing, then you don't have the clients.
Right. They don't know about you. They didn't know you exist.
Then you got to work on sales, because if you have the leads but you can't close them, you got to convert them. Mm-hmm. And then once you have them, you work on your systems and your procedures and your protocol and your team and your infrastructure.
Yeah.
But during all that time, one of the first mistakes that I made, in that journey, was not focusing on my mindset. So I'm like, I'm confident. I know I deserve it. Yeah. I think I can do this.
You're like, I'm here, and
right? But everyone has a story, and everyone has layers that need to be pulled back and peeled back. I had extreme mom guilt at that time that I had to overcome, and all the things that went along with that. And so I was just doing all the other things and didn't focus on, like, myself as the center of it all. Yeah. And only once I started to do that did really things just start to take off.
Okay. Honestly, I'm learning that too, because I just got back into therapy literally last week, because I was like, I'm focused, I'm doing a good job here, but now the studios, I'm not paying attention to it because I'm trying to focus on the real estate. So I actually decided to close this LLC, and this is now the Investor Property Guru's asset. So the studio is now to fund TIPG operations, so just merge it. And then I was struggling with just dad guilt. Like, I'm focusing on all of this, but then I get home and I'm exhausted. I can't give less energy here than I did there, so I'm forcing through it, and now I'm irritable. It was just so much. And that's like my first coach, my therapist. So now it's like I'm going to plug in. So just to kind of bring this home, how would you, I guess, know that when you're ready to be a coach? Because I would love to be like, I'll be a real estate coach. I could help you convert your leads, but it's like, how do you not?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of coaches out there. Now, it's super cool to be a coach nowadays,
Yeah, sounds great.
That's a good question.
Like, why don't you be a coach? Like,
maybe I will one day.
We could do a thing. Make like a coach that groups coaches, and we give you a coach curriculum.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things out there. I will likely do something one day, but I don't want to spread myself too thin either. And so I'm building one thing at a time.
The one thing, that's what we're learning. So that is the one thing I've kind of realized that would have helped my business a lot sooner, because I'm trying to build the marketing campaign, the systems, the team, and everything at once. And every week I'm having the same meeting over and over with the team. I'm like, all right, guys, this week we got to do this. So I'm reading The One Thing. It's a book. Yeah. And I'm just kind of.
It's a good book.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm just really just one thing. This is what we're focusing on. And I'm watching it develop. Like, oh, crap, it's working.
Yeah.
It's working. This is happening. So, all right, thank you. Okay, so as far as, let's talk. What's the word I want to look for? Estate planning. Mm-hmm. Estate planning. See, I look at you like the estate queen. That's I kind of self-branded you that.
Well, that's great, because that's kind of not a newer venture, but it's something that I stopped doing for a while because the real estate market was so busy. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Let's just bench that for a little bit. Yeah. Let's just focus on real estate, and I also just focused on growing real estate for a while. Mm-hmm. I would refer out all the other stuff, and then it got to a point where real estate kind of settled. Yeah. The dust settled after all that craziness.
It's synced now, though.
And now I was like, I need to bring it back in. I want to bring it back in. It was always in the plan. So it took me about 2 years to really ramp it up. So thank you for saying you look at me like that, because I worked hard to build that.
You're the only one I see, like, really, because it's an initiative of mine for the Investor Property Gurus. So I don't know if you heard, the Silver Tsunami's coming to Florida.
Yes.
So after the next 10, 20 years, the population is going to be mostly seniors. And a lot of their, I guess, thought process is to protect and build for the future.
Right.
And a big problem I'm seeing is I'm running into these probates left and right, and no one knows what to do. So my biggest issue I'm running into is mom left me the house. She said it's for me. But then she passes.
But is it really?
Yeah, she passes, and then all the siblings, like, they were in agreement, and now they're like, no, actually. So now we got to go into this whole and it derails everything. So how do you protect against that?
Well, an ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure. is really where it's at in anything, but in particular with planning for incapacity, death, disability. We need to make sure we have our paperwork in order to prevent the things that we say we don't want to happen. So, there's a few buckets of people. There's people who have no idea what they don't know. That's why education is so important. So, as professionals, we need to make sure all our clients are aware, hey, did you know that you could look into this so that you can make sure your family avoids probate? They avoid, most probate deals end up like with a foreclosure issue.
Yeah, and I have so many probate deals that I just don't know what to do with because I need help. I need the what did I just call you? What do you want to call yourself? Do you want to give yourself a title for this?
I'm the closer. I'm the estate planning mom. I'm all the other things.
Yeah, the estate queen. There we go. I need the estate queen to come out here and help me.
I wear hats. Lots of hats.
That's how I envision when I think estate queen. You do have a hat. Like imagine we're at the horse races and we're like, oh look, there's an estate queen.
Like a derby.
Melinda,
I love
Melinda is purple. Melinda, please
darling.
Yes, please tell us. He has an asset in the palms, and so that's how I see this. But we're gonna do events. I want to do this.
But there's such a big misconception of what an estate is.
What's an estate?
So let's just get down to basics.
Please.
What is an estate? An estate is anything you own in your name when you die.
Oh. Okay.
It could be $10. It could be $1 million. It could be a
Really?
little condo. It could be a portfolio.
Okay.
It could be a business.
Like your stocks.
It could be stocks.
Okay.
It could be bank accounts. If you don't plan to not have it stay in your estate by some proactive measure in planning, your assets will become, once you die, part of your estate. So that's why even on the property page you see estate of, right?
Yeah.
Because that person passed, so now it's in their estate.
I thought that it was just a house.
But it's in the estate.
Oh, the estate.
The house is an asset.
Real estate
of
is just
the estate.
it's real property, but it's
but once you die, if your name's on that deed and you die and there's no built-in inheritance and there's no plan to avoid it, that property now is in your estate. So now to remove it from your estate to either who you say on your will gets your property, or if you have no will, what the law says of who's going to get your asset, right?
What does the law say? How does that go?
That depends on what your family looks like.
Variables. Okay.
Then at that point, you need to go through probate to remove the asset from the estate to the heirs or to the beneficiaries.
Got it. Okay.
So
I don't even know what question I want to ask you here.
So that probate process is something most people, when they learn about it, want to avoid. Because what is probate? Probate is a legal case.
Okay.
Probate is, costs attorney's fees. Depending on how much your estate value is, they're gonna change the way they bill you generally as an attorney. So generally, it's either 3% of your estate, like a commission.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Or a flat rate, or an hourly rate, or a combination.
Okay.
Plus plus court costs, plus all these other things, and that's not the collateral damage. So what happens when a property's stuck in an estate? It has to go through probate, and hasn't.
It takes a while too.
We can't sell it. We technically can't rent it because only a property owner can rent out a property. Now, do people do it? Yeah, but technically, you can't list it on the MLS to rent if the person has passed away.
So as an agent, how do you know if you can list it or not?
So you got to look at, first of all, is there built-in inheritance on the deed? That's lesson number one.
Okay.
So that's when working with a title company and a lawyer that can say, hey, tell me, what do I do? What do I do here? Do I need to do probate or not, or et cetera, so that you have a game plan before you go into your listing appointment. And then from there, if it needs probate, we can help you with the probate, right? And then get you to close. Or if it doesn't need probate, you just, give you the structure for that. And it just depends how it's titled and or if it's in probate, how far along in the probate. Because just because you file probate, you got to wait for it to be over sometimes before you can do anything with it. But what's not frozen? Like I when I educate, I say the property is frozen until the probate judge gives it to somebody else, right?
Can everyone just agree to say no? It's theirs, or do they still have to do research?
There's certain protocol.
Okay.
During a probate
case,
depending on the type of probate case, and during that time the asset is frozen, and so it's not frozen. The bills.
Yeah,
taxes,
who pays that?
Insurance. obviously mortgage,
association fees,
and they have an accelerated right to foreclose if those are not getting paid.
Yeah.
So what happens? This is, the families can't afford their bills plus these bills, most families.
Yeah.
And so they get stuck and the property ends up in foreclosure, or they get financially strapped, or they get preyed on by these investors who know they're strapped.
Yeah, they know it, yeah.
Because they're in a probate case and they can't afford to pay the lawyer to do the case and the bills and their bills. So they end up selling for a lot less than they could have.
Because you can search this. You can find properties going through this, okay.
Exactly.
So interesting.
Yeah. So, there's so many first-generation home buyers now that we don't want them to lose that legacy for the next generation.
Yeah.
Inheriting a home gives you such a step-up advantage in life.
It does.
Never mind anything else, but let's just talk about the home, because most people, it's the home.
You live a good chunk of your life trying to get there. So if you can already start out there, and now it's like, okay, what's the next step? Now let's invest. So
or they can leverage that to buy their own personal home, right? There's so many. That's the legacy part.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of fading out in today's society. Like, it used to be like the family house, but nowadays everyone's just like kind of moving around and selling.
Moving around, but either way, it's still an asset that you can use it as a stepping stone for the next generation. Whether it's the real estate itself that they keep and rent, or live in and buy something else, or whether it's a home that gets sold and divided and that money can be used for the next thing.
Yeah,
it's a stepping stone.
Is there like a suggested age to start estate plan? Like, I'm 33. Can I start planning?
Everyone should have a plan.
At any age.
What's in your plan is going to vary based on your age, if you have children, if you have real estate, what your assets look like, etc. But everyone should have a plan. It just, what does your plan look like or should be, will depend on all those factors.
So what do I do? Like, is this like an appointment? I book an appointment with you?
Yeah.
Oh,
we have consultations that with the team, where you can learn about what you need based on what, and we do webinars almost every week. So we actually have a webinar tonight at 7:30.
What's the website?
p.m. We have a landing page. I could share you the link.
Yes.
For our webinars, and we're having two to 4 a month.
Okay.
Big educational push, and I think that's a great starting place for most people, because most people don't know what they don't know.
It's the unknowns.
They start there, they get educated, and then all of a sudden they're like,
oh yeah, like I need to get
my
it
stuff
motivates
together.
You to kind of invest more. So okay, here's a question. A lot of entrepreneurs, like in this situation, I own all this stuff in here, but I rent this suite to facilitate this business. So how do I make something like this part of my estate? Because if I die and I stop paying the rent, how do they protect the stuff in here? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so that depends.
Well, a lot of variables.
A lot of variables. It depends on what your lease says.
Oh, because it can say like it's transferable if I die. Oh.
Or they can put a hold on your.
So it sounds like step
stuff.
one is like read your docs. So read your mortgage, read your lease, read your association. Okay. Oh.
That's always the first step. But planning for the next thing, like for example, even if you have business, the money in that business account, you can't put a beneficiary on it. That business is an asset. Now, whether it's just to liquidate the asset, the equipment, and the bank accounts, or whether it's I can sell this business, or I can, leverage this business for my family after I pass. All these things need to be accounted for in your plan.
Okay.
Same thing with the real estate. And then when we have minor children, like you and I, we need to make sure we appoint who's going to care for them if we can't. You know what happens if you don't?
That's part of this?
That's all part of this. If you can't take care of your kids because you're not well or you pass away,
someone instantly becomes their legal guardian because I planned for it.
Well, because if I plan for it,
but if not, they're just kind of floating until someone takes them?
You risk them going to DCF custody.
Really? Oh, because there's no one, even if they have like a grandma or auntie, that doesn't mean anything unless you appoint it.
There's a few things there. Like, they're not appointed by you, so then they have to go through the legal process and prove that they're the best and they have the best interest.
Really?
And then maybe grandma or auntie is not the best person.
They can't just take the kids and say, they're living with me now. Wow. Okay. Because the state knows you died. They're like, all right, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
Whoa, okay.
And sometimes grandma or auntie are not the best people or not the people that you want to take care of your kids. Maybe it's this person. Maybe it's that person, right?
I was just saying today, you can't just leave your kids with everybody. I was just saying that this morning.
Oh, yeah. Nowadays, it's getting...
They don't watch their kids like you watch your kids. You don't know who watches your kids like you. I get it.
And you can't even trust people.
I trust my mom, by the way. This is not that.
Yeah,
this is not that. But
yeah, but a lot of us, we could say I would trust my parents with my kids, but if you think about it, like
they'll let the kids get away with what you want. The world we are in
today is not the world that we grew up in.
Yeah.
Like 30, 40 years ago.
100%.
Even back
playing
then,
outside
I wasn't allowed to have playing outside alone wasn't the thing. Like now, we don't let our kids play outside alone. Like
I used to just be out there. Like I'll be back, and then now I'm like, whoa.
That's not happening.
Yeah, no.
My son's like, I want to go right around the block with my bike. I'm like, I don't know.
Go right on back there.
First of all, you need to make sure that you tell me, because one day he just took his bike and did a little loop.
Oh no!
I'm like, you can't be doing that. I mean, we are in a gated community, but still.
Yeah, no, track them kids. Put trackers on them.
Oh man.
Anyway. AirTags.
They
got the AirTag shoes.
We got the AirTags in the backpack. We got the AirTags.
Yeah, put AirTags in everything, because
Yeah.
I'm glad we had this talk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And just like we're not gonna give away all the estate planning, because they got to book the consultation.
Yeah.
But I had one more thing that I wanted to just figure out here on that last note, but it's okay.
No,
I'll come back to it.
Okay.
I'll come back to it. That's how I got to do. Ooh, it was good too. I just got so taken away by the AirTag situation.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that
I remember
we choose who's going to take care of our kids if we're not able to, and not some random judge. Just tying that back.
I remember. Okay, so I don't have, I'm distant from all my family. Let's just say I don't have heirs. I did not do any estate planning, and I have a house and I passed. Most likely, how does that work? Like, if the house is just sitting there and it's just it's been 5 years and it's just sitting there abandoned, looking bad, the taxes haven't been paid, how would an investor most likely probably take advantage of that situation?
So who is entitled to inherit that property if there's no will is going to be based on Florida law, and so that'll depend.
Mm-hmm.
If there are living blood relatives and there was no will,
the state finds them.
Well, not really. It's probably just going to end up being chewed up by a lender or property tax liens or things like that.
They just rack up.
They just rack up until someone liens it and forecloses. Because that's just the reality of if there's no one, if everyone's estranged.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if there's an abandoned house somewhere and it's literally just sitting there. What's the opportunity?
Well, you gotta know, is the owner dead?
Let's assume they are, and no one's come to claim the house, and it's been 10 years.
What some people do, they'll send mail to the house and see who's collecting the mail, and
then they'll check and see if it's still there, and if it's gone, someone's caring for the house.
Or saying, hey,
Yeah. Also, you can check property records too.
Property records. Sometimes they change the mailing address for the property after someone passes. But likely, if that's the case, somebody knows about it. They're making some changes, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna try to do something.
This question is really, what is this? Is it eminent domain? No, eminent domain is when the state takes it. But when you just pay the taxes because adverse possession. Okay, let's briefly just.
I mean, this is like pulling out from my archives from law school.
Yeah.
But, you have to act like it's your own openly.
You got to take care of it.
You got to take care of it.
You can't just pay the taxes up and say this is mine now.
You got to move in.
Basically.
Put up a fence and say this is mine.
Got it.
Without being overly technical. But there's a way to do that. And I don't even know what the status of that law is today, because I don't practice
we'll revisit that. We'll revisit that.
Yeah, but that's
because I don't know if you've ever been in driving places and you see that one building that's just been this building has not had walls since I've been a kid, and it still doesn't have walls. How do I? Who do I talk to? That's a good. What is? Okay, so if it's
if it's no access permitted, fenced around, then can you really say that it was abandoned?
Oh, because it could be condemned. You can't access. Okay, so let's just say it's not. It's just in really bad shape, and it's wow, no one can live. There can't be anyone living there, and if there is someone in there,
is someone paying property taxes? Is someone maintaining it?
No.
I mean,
who should I call? Do I want a lawyer or a realtor? I guess that's the question here.
I think
who should
I don't know. I think you got
to
to figure out who the better question is who has authority over that property.
We don't know. I'm an investor. Do I call you?
I would say, usually investors have their ways to call and find out and locate who has authority on that property.
Yeah. So what this is, I'm just a guy, and I'm watching this video, and I'm like, I wonder how I could buy that property. Should I call Khalid? I guess they should call me.
Yeah.
Call me. Call the Investment Property Guru Solutions Group at theinvestmentpropertygurus.com, 954-324-8254, and I will connect you with Grimaldi Law Firm, the closers title, the closers title insurance agency. I always forget the word insurance.
Yeah.
I forget you're insuring these titles. So like, should there be a cloud or a defect on the title, you're covered.
Right.
Gotta love it. Okay.
Yes.
Give us your websites. Give us your contacts. Give us,
All right. So I got lots.
Let's do it. We got time.
realestatelawfl.com is our law firm website. Thecloserstitle.com also for the title company. You could find us on Instagram, on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm The Closer ESQ.
Love it.
If you just search my name, you should find all this stuff. Melinda Grimaldi.
It's true.
I shouldn't be too hard to find.
She's very reachable. Very reachable. And I appreciate it. Oh, and I love your office. You got to go to her office because, see, from the conference room, you just get this beautiful view of Hard Rock Stadium. And it's just, you're not going to close many deals with a beautiful view of Hard Rock Stadium like that. So check out The Closers. Check out Melinda. Hollywood, Florida.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of anything. You know what? We should do like a legal update thing monthly, something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. Look out for things with me and Melinda. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.